Now, Honor, who used to be part of the Huawei family until they split apart earlier this year, is well known for offering excellent value for money, not least in its laptops, which are ideal for students who are on a tight budget but who don't want to make do with any old tat. And the existing Honor Magicbook 14 laptop with the AMD Ryzen Smarts has just been upgraded for 2021, now with some hot 11th gen Intel action and double the memory for much beefier performance. Now, I've been using the Honor Magicbook 14 2021 edition as my laptop for the last week or so, and here's my in-depth review. And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do plug subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So as with other Honor laptops, the Magicbook 14 sports a very simple design. You won't find any frills or flair on that space grey aluminium frame, but it does at least seem quite rugged. It can handle a fair few knocks and doesn't scratch up when you pile other bits on top of it or just chuck it in a backpack. Speaking of which, the Honor Magicbook 14 2021 is reasonably skinny and quite light as well at 1.38 kilos, so you should be able to slip it into most reasonable sized backpacks without a struggle. Connectivity ain't too bad. You've got a single Type-C USB 3.2 port, you've got dual USB 2.0 ports on opposite edges, plus an HDMI port as well. I definitely would have liked another Type-C USB port to be slapped somewhere on this thing so I could charge the laptop up and also have a Type-C peripheral attached simultaneously. And you know, an SD card reader wouldn't have gone amiss as well, but hey-ho. As for Honor's chiclet keyboard, well, that's ideal for smashing out emails, essays, scripts, and werewolf romance novels with well-spaced keys and comfortable typing action despite the shallow travel. It doesn't get spongy towards the centre, it's a nice firm action throughout, so to speak, and also you got 2 stages of backlighting for working well into the wee hours. It's great to see a fingerprint sensor built into that power button as well, which just makes unlocking the laptop nice and quick and simple, and it works really well. I haven't had it fail on me yet. As for the touchpad, well, Honor has certainly made the most of that palm rest space here on the Magicbook 14 2021, stretching that touchpad about as far as it possibly could. It's a nice wide one as well, so it suits the wide aspect ratio of the display, and it's nice and sensitive. Multi-touch gestures work a charm, and even those integrated mouse buttons aren't absolutely terrible. Now, that 14-inch IPS screen is surrounded by very slender bezels, which is definitely helped by the lack of webcam action up top. And that's because, like on a lot of Huawei and Honor laptops, that cam is actually secreted away inside the keyboard. And while this design is undeniably a very clever way of saving a bit of space and stretching that panel the full width of the chassis, it does also mean that when you're doing a bit of zooming or, God forbid, Microsoft Teaming, all of your online buddies are going to get a really good view of your nostril hair or your double chin or your cleavage. Unless that is you squat all the way down so your chin is practically resting on that touchpad. So if you're going to be doing a lot of online chat shenanigans for your lectures, your work, whatever, then maybe consider an alternative. I find it's alright as long as you take a step back and you aren't actually typing on the laptop at the same time. But the actual camera quality is absolutely fine, as you can see there. It can do your usual basic face tracking and everything, keep you in focus. I've had no real problems with HDR as long as I'm not sat right in front of a window, gushing sunlight into the room. And the microphones that are built into the Honor Magicbook 14 are fine as well, but I would recommend wearing a headset if you are going to be doing some online chatting. Now back to that 14-inch display, and it is a bit of a superstar. You've got a 16:9 stretched aspect ratio, which is quite well suited to watching a bit of Netflix and so on, and I found it was perfectly fine for browsing the web, editing photos and all that good stuff. You've got a 1920 by 1080 pixel resolution, so visuals are nice and crisp, and you get impressively natural imagery production too. This bad boy can cover off a full 100% of the sRGB gamut and 74% of that Adobe RGB as well. Now the default settings, the color temperature is quite cold, but you can easily tweak that by going into the display manager and having to play around with the settings on here, make them warmer, colder, or actually set it to exactly the kind of output that you like. Plus you've got the usual eye comfort shenanigans as well, which is great news if you're having to work well into the wee hours. And I got no beef with the brightness levels either. If you max out the Honor Magicbook 14 2021's display, you'll find that it can hit 370 nits, and combined with that anti-glare coating on the display, I found that working outdoors, absolutely no issues whatsoever, even on, God forbid, those days where the sun managed to break through that thick layer of British clouds. You should have no problems finding a decent viewing angle, as well as that hinge bends all the way back a full 180 degrees. The Magicbook 14 2021 stereo speakers are hidden away underneath the chassis, but I still found that the audio came through loud and clear on those higher volumes. And this proved absolutely fine, actually, for blasting a bit of music just in the background while you're working away on whatever, but I did prefer to use a proper pair of plugged-in headphones, otherwise the Bluetooth connectivity is absolutely fine too. I generally stuck to using the speakers on the Magicbook 14 2021 only when I was enjoying a bit of Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever in my downtime, and then I found they were absolutely fit for purpose, that everything came through loud and clear even in a really noisy kitchen. If you like to download a lot of media or apps, you got a 512GB NVMe SSD packed inside the Honor Magicbook 14, and this is blazingly fast for a skinny budget-friendly laptop. My test showed read speeds consistently over 3 gigabits per second and write speeds not too far behind. Oof. Performance comes courtesy of one of Intel's Core i7-1165G7M processors backed by 16 gigs of DDR4 memory. And this was well up to the task of running Windows 10 and all manner of software simultaneously, not a judder in sight. Even the usual memory sappers like Chrome ran perfectly alongside Deezer and creative software like GIMP. And for any benchmarking enthusiasts out there, PC Mark 10 spaffed out a score of 4884, while Geekbench 5 churned out a 1569 single-core score and a 5121 multi-core score. As for any gamers out there, well, it's just Iris Xe integrated graphics, so don't go expecting to blaze through the latest titles with a super smooth frame rate, but older fare runs absolutely fine, as do games that scale to suit all systems. And if you do say f it and spend the afternoon capping mofos online or whatever, the Magicbook 14's dual heating pipes and dedicated coolant fan do help to keep the laptop from getting toasty and throttling that performance despite the slender build. You could also happily indulge your creative side with a good bit of photo editing and even some light video editing, but don't lean too hard on the Magicbook 14 2021 or it will break. You got for Wi-Fi 6 support as well, which is now becoming increasingly the standard, so that's great news if you've got lots of smart home goodies all connected to the internet. It'll keep things nice and nippy, providing you've got a supported router, of course. As for the battery life, well, that's certainly another highlight of the Honor Magicbook 14 2021 laptop. I found that I easily got 8 straight hours of use from a single charge, and that's even when working in Chrome, playing music in the background, getting a good bit of GIMP on the go, all that good stuff. However, of course, the most intensive tasks do tend to take a toll on the Magicbook 14, so if you're going to be, non-stop gaming or something, you can expect the laptop to die within about 3 to 4 hours. And so there you have it, that's my review of the Honor Magicbook 14 2021, updated with those latest Intel Core Smarts, and I gotta say, the performance, the battery life, everything else about it, I absolutely adored. If you're on a really tight budget, but you basically want a laptop that can cope with pretty much anything you throw at it, then it will do the job. It's not quite perfect, little issues like the awkward positioning of that webcam, which does, on the other hand, have its benefits, and you've got that lovely full view display. This is definitely one of my top picks for the best student laptop of 2021 thus far, but what do you guys think? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below as well. Please do poke, subscribe, ding that notifications bell for more on the latest greatest tech, and have yourselves a fine rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you!